Hello and welcome to episode 187. It's been a while, Lisa. How's it going?
It's been a while, but we're back, and we came back at the right time. Not intentionally, because I didn't realize we were recording at the end of the Game Awards this year.
It kind of worked out serendipitously like that, right?
Yeah, it kind of did, especially because it just ended 30 minutes ago of us recording this podcast.
Yes.
But aside from that, Jeremy, you know me. I've been very busy with work.
Yep.
The usual. Nothing's changed, Jeremy. I'm just working all the time.
Lisa, you move on from one project to another, and that's it. I feel like that's just...
that's all.
Yeah, that's just the story.
This is all I do. This is all I do.
Yeah, but, there are some positives and negatives to it. I mean, you grow closer to your coworkers over time, and,
Totally.
you kind of make bonds and friendships that you don't really find anywhere else because you all have similar interests and you're all working in the same industry, so you all understand how each other works. And I feel like that's really important, especially for a job that you feel like you're going to be there for a long time for.
Yeah, which is totally fair. And naturally, when you spend spend a year or so working on projects with people, you just you work all these long nights and you potentially make new lifelong bonds. And yeah. Project's hard, but I have some support like with you and just like family and friends, but also just support of my coworkers and, just keeping on, the usual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm good. Work is work as well.
Yep.
I'm trying to find that fine line between not giving a fuck about my work when I'm done and trying to continue my social life, as we ease out of this pandemic, slowly but surely.
Which is very important.
Yeah, it's really important to have work-life balances, and I feel like I'm definitely this year, at least towards the end of the year, I've started feeling more towards a life balance than a work balance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely been better for me mentally, I think, to have that mindset and to continue to grow there, especially going on into the next year. I just want to, I want to make sure that I'm in a good place in my job. And I know I am. I know I can do my job pretty well and competently. But, I also don't want to focus too much on my job and focus on my life more. And I feel like I've been trying to focus on my life more, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get that social life back in order. Seeing people in person and hanging out with them is always a nice thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And any free time that I have when I just don't need it to myself, I'm trying to insert that and just hanging out with people as well.
Yeah. And I feel like next year is going to be a big year for both of us to be traveling and going places around the world. And
definitely.
To start, my family and I, we finally made plans that we're going to Japan in 2023, spring 2023. We planned to do this in March 2020, but of course, everyone knows what happened. I think I mentioned this on a podcast like way back when. It's crazy to think that was like 2 years ago when we talked about that.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I made some plans with my parents and my brother, and we're all gonna go. It's gonna be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. Lots of things that I want to do, lots of pictures I want to take, lots of memories I want to make with my family, and I'm really happy that it's finally here and it's happening.
That's great. And most likely, 2 weeks or so after Jeremy leaves Japan, I'm probably going to be in Japan too in spring 2023. And I haven't figured that out yet, haven't secured a date, but that's going to happen as well. And I'm excited and looking forward to going to Japan for the first time in years.
Yes. Everyone go travel abroad, expand your horizons, and help the economies of other countries.
Yep. It's going to be a good time.
Speaking of coincidences too, that, we're both going to Japan. We both found out yesterday that we're going to the same concert in San Francisco in January, which I think is hilarious.
I know, and we've never been to a concert before together.
No, we haven't, but this will be the first time that we get to hang out and just like enjoy some great music.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. When we found out, I was like, wait, what, really?
Yeah, I know. I was like, you're going?
Yeah, I remember seeing an ad for that concert like on Facebook, and I was like, oh, let me just click the link. I'm like, oh, it's through Axis, and tickets are like $40. Let me just
Yeah.
slide my credit card
Not
in here.
Ticketmaster.
Right? Right? Goddamn Ticketmaster and that whole fiasco. It's crazy.
I know.
But yeah, so outside of work, everything cool? Do you have any big plans for 2023?
Well, I don't have, I haven't figured out all my plans, but really just seeking happiness is what I'm going for in 2023, and just going to different spots and chasing music,
Here,
relaxing, watching TV, playing video games, and all that good stuff.
Things that distract you from the craziness that is life.
Exactly. And, just trying to better myself in every single way. As sappy as that sounds, Jeremy.
No.
This is what I think about when I'm 30. So.
Yeah, we've reached a new milestone in our lives, and yes. So for context too, for those listening, Alyssa and I met up in person yesterday to hang out, have some dinner, catch up, talk about non-podcast things. And can I talk about like how we described our 20s? Like,
yes.
We described our 20s as we're gonna fuck around and find out, and our 30s are we've fucked around and we have found out, and some of the finding out we don't like, so we don't want to fuck around.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great,
and it's fantastic. I'm here for the 30s though. This is honestly gonna be a good decade.
Right? Yeah. Some people say like, "Oh, 30s are the new 20s, 40s are the new 30s." Man, fuck that shit. We 30s are 30s. Just let life be.
30s.
Just let us live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let us live our best lives. How about that?
Age is a social construct, I think.
Yeah. It'll take a toll on your body as you get older, but still, like, that's beside the fact. That doesn't mean that you can't still have fun and do things that you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's all we got with life for now.
Yeah. And speaking of living our best lives, let me tell you a story, Alyssa.
Yes. Tell me about TwitchCon.
TwitchCon was great. TwitchCon was a lot of fun. For those that don't know that are listening, I stream on Twitch occasionally just for fun. And I've been having some mixed feelings about streaming. I'll talk about those separately later on another podcast, perhaps, maybe towards the end of the year. But and like I'm talking about how like this is not the end of the year. Of course, it's the end of the year. I mean, maybe if we do another one before the next year starts. Anyways, TwitchCon was
probably
fun.
Would happen.
Yeah. TwitchCon was fun. It was great meeting people that I've only interacted with on Twitch and putting a name to the face for some folks. And seeing people in person as opposed to just through cameras. I'm like, yo, this is sick. Like, it's nice meeting you. Let's hang out. It's really cool that we have common interests. Mind you, my time at TwitchCon was very short. However, on the way to TwitchCon, I got a notification from Twitter, and I follow several different Twitter accounts to try to buy a PS5. I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can try and buy a PS5. As we were driving down, I got a notification, and I showed my buddy, and I was like, oh, hey, like I can buy a PS5 from the official Sony store. And he's like, oh, cool. He's like, are you going to do it? I'm like, I don't know. Is this even real? And I like put my information in. Of course it was real because it's the official Sony store. And I put my information in. I'm about to place order, and I look at my buddy. I'm like, should I do it? And he's like, I don't know, man. Just see what happens. Press enter and see what happens. I placed it. My card got charged, and I was like, huh, okay. Cut to Sunday. I'm coming back from TwitchCon. I get a notification from FedEx that my package is out for delivery. I get home. It's still out for delivery. I'm like, oh, okay. Pretty normal. Maybe the driver got lost or whatever. A few days roll by. Still out for delivery. Contact FedEx. They try to find it. They can't find it. I'm like, well, man, maybe it was a scam. I'm assuming someone realized what it was and stole it. Whatever. I contacted PlayStation. They sent me a new one in like one day. I get it. I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't a scam. It was real. And I ended up buying a PlayStation 5 disc version. It's great. I'm able to play everything. Like I reinstalled Ghost of Tsushima on that machine, And oh my god, it's so beautiful in 60 frames a
I'm
second.
guessing it's so much faster too.
Oh, the load times are insane. Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's crazy. And like playing, I even installed Yakuza 0 on there because like I want to play, even though it like runs fine on PlayStation 4. I'm like, I just want to play it on PS5 because I can.
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready for
Absolutely.
Ishin and the future Yakuza games that appear or what have you. So it's been great. Mind you, I've only been mainly using it as like a media machine, but recently I bought The Last of Us Part 1, which is a remake of The Last of Us, the first game, and I've been really enjoying it because it's basically The Last of Us, the first game reskinned and retooled with The Last of Us Part 2's controls and mechanics. Visually, it's better. Gameplay-wise, it's pretty much the same game. It's just like aesthetically, it looks better.
Yes.
And I also got Spider-Man Miles Morales that also comes with Spider-Man. And I have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I haven't really played any of the previous games, but I heard like it doesn't really matter. So I'm just like, okay, I'll catch up.
Ratchet and Clank is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I have the Uncharted series because I gotta rep for my girl Lisa because I know she's a big fan.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I plan to play through all the Uncharted games at some point. I plan to play Rift Apart, and I definitely want to get into Spider-Man soon. But yeah, so having a PS5 is pretty cool. I'm really going back on my word from 2019 or whatever, saying that I'm not gonna buy one until there's like a slim version that comes out. But a little bit of my 20 snuck in, and they're like, just fuck around and find out. And I fucked around and I found out.
Now, Jeremy, if you recall when I got my PS5, what I think is funny is you thought it was a scam, and I also thought it was a scam too when I got one. Because for some reason, just the way that the rollout was when you got the email confirmation, the website you went to, everything forgetting the PlayStation,
Right.
just seemed so sketch and not official. And
Right.
I don't know what it is that Sony was doing or whatever, but it's weird. Like it did not feel like I was going through an official channel, even though it totally was.
Right? Yeah. You're just like, is this legal? Like, am I gonna be put on a list if I do this? Like, are there gonna be drugs in this box? Like, what's going on here? And you get it, and you unwrap it. You're like, oh, this is actually a PlayStation. Like, that's wild. Yeah, it's cool.
Yes.
I'm really enjoying how fast everything loads, games and movies, like through streaming services, like everything. It's awesome. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna throw away my PS4 because I might need it for something in the future. But right now, PS5 is great. I'm probably gonna upgrade the hard drive in the near future, the SSD, to make it like just to have more storage. And I read it's really easy to do compared to trying to make a new hard drive for your PS4. So I'll probably do that once SSD prices go down.
That's fair.
Yeah, because games are getting ridiculously big now, like hundreds of gigabytes. I'm like, dude, my SSD is like already full on this. Like, you only get 825 gigabytes, even though it's like what 1 terabyte and or something like that. No, it's like 800, but then 200 of it is reserved for the OS or some other things. So you only get like 600, which is not a lot if you think about how many games you want to install and how many games you want to play at any given time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my PS5
A lot
story.
of games to play.
Yeah, a lot of games to play in so little time. That's that. Other than that, I've been just playing my usual stuff. Valorant. I've been hopping back on the Forest, and I've hopped back on Apex Legends. And those games are, they are what they are. They're fun. It's just whatever. And some new games I've kind of started. Cyberpunk 2077. I watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners, the anime on Netflix, and was like, "Oh, this!"
Dude,
I finished it. It was so good.
It's on my list. I heard that it's really good.
It is. It's so good, and it makes you want to play the game. And what's cool is that they inserted a lot of Easter eggs and references from the anime into the game as like free DLC. So like if you're familiar with the game and you watch the anime, you're like, oh, I understand all these references and all these characters and the places that they're going. And then when you watch the anime and play the game, you're like, oh shit, this is from the anime. And there's like tie-ins, like there's tie-ins to the show because the show takes place like a year or two before the events of the game, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool seeing all of it. So
that is pretty cool.
Yeah, highly recommend everyone check it out. And the other game that I started playing is called Generation Zero. It's like This
I
open
heard of that one.
world shooter set in an alternate 1980s Sweden where robots have suddenly taken over and you don't know why. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. What about you, Elisa? What are you playing?
So really the only thing that and it's been taking a while for me to play, and I've only really put maybe 5 or 10 hours into this just because of work, obviously. I've only really dabbled into Horizon Forbidden West a little bit.
Ah,
And I'm enjoying it. I feel like it's just as fun as the first one so far, and I'm having a good time.
nice.
But yeah, and it is, God, it is so fast on PS5.
Yes.
It's amazing.
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
like playing Deathloop on PS5 was also really awesome, and just like that was a great experience. And God, it is such a fast. You think your PS4 is like, yeah, this is fine. And by the way, the PS4 is totally fine.
Yes.
Just to clarify, it's just then when you finally do that upgrade, you're like, oh wait, actually, this is way faster.
Right? Like
And
reinstalling Ghost of Tsushima, I was like, man, I played this entire thing in 30 frames a second, and it was cinematic and it was nice. But then when I played it in like 60 frames a second on PS5, I'm like, damn, I could have played the whole game like this.
God, I would love to replay Ghost of Tsushima. And you know what, Jeremy? I love that game so much, I might just do it on PS5.
Yeah.
Because why not?
I'm probably gonna do it too, but I kind of want to wait for my memories of the game to die down so that I don't remember certain parts, and then when I
For
replay it,
sure.
I could just cry all over again.
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely. That makes sense. But other than that, that's really, like, that's all I'm playing. I'm hoping during my company shutdown, I will finish Horizon Forbidden West. So,
Yes, and there's like DLC that got announced, which we're gonna talk about
yeah,
next.
exactly. Which we're going to talk about next because the Game Awards just happened an hour ago.
Crazy. As of the recording of this podcast,
Yes,
Elisa and I
as
have
of the
just
recording.
finished watching the Game Awards.
Yes. And by watching, I realized they were on, and I went on Google and figured out who won and what the trailers are. But you were actually listening and watching it.
Yeah. I would like tune in every now and then while like taking care of some other stuff, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And
For
like
sure.
anytime they said world premiere, I was like, okay, let me just see what this is. And if it wasn't something I was kind of interested in, I kind of just like turned away, and I was like, you know what, IGN or whoever's gonna cover this later, I'll look at it later.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so I think we can go down the list in order of like announcements. And then
Yeah,
we can
go
pause
for it.
wherever we feel like we want to stop. So
Yeah.
the first thing was Hades 2.
Okay, let's pause.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I don't really have any comments except it looks great, and I'm looking forward to playing it. And by the way, I would have never guessed they were going to make a Hades 2.
Right. I feel like Hades could have been one of those games that's like, hey, we've done this, the type of game. We're going to move on and do something else, another project. But no, they kept it. I was like, wow.
If Supergiant decided they were going to make another game, I would have, not thought anything of it.
Yeah, I'm sure because you played the first one and loved it, you're like, you know what, whatever Supergiant makes next, I'll play.
Exactly. And then it turns out whatever they're making next is a second one.
You're like, well, you're like that meme where the guy's like rubbing his hands behind the tree. You're just like, yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
But the trailer was really cool. I liked the beginning animation of it, and then the gameplay. Obviously, if you've played it, you know what to expect. But it looks fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. It is going to be interesting.
Yes.
So that was announced. Judas, which is a game by Ken Levine and his new game studio, Ghost Story Games. So if those aren't familiar with who Ken Levine is, he's a game developer that worked initially for Irrational Games, and Irrational was known for producing all of the BioShock titles. So he has that experience under his belt. Judas looks like it's going to be a first-person game in kind of the same realm, perhaps similar storytelling elements and dialogue in the same like world building and aesthetic as the BioShock games are put into. I have no idea what this game's about, but fuck, it looks cool. I'll play it. Anything Ken Levine produces, I'm like, I can't wait to play it because I love the BioShock games. Infinite is one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, I'm excited.
For sure. And
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't even know that he came from Irrational.
Yeah, he like co-founded Irrational, and then when they got bought out by 2K and after Infinite was released, he left with a bunch of people and they ended up making their own studio and producing their own games.
For sure.
Yeah. After that we had Death Stranding 2.
And speaking of other sequels I wasn't expecting to ever see.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see a sequel of this one. So
Yeah. I have mixed feelings. I have not played the first one, so all of my words are take my my opinions with a grain of salt. But like, just looking at it, it looks amazing. Hideo Kojima is known for, crazy set pieces and having stacked casts in his games. So
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this one
we'll
goes.
see.
I only know is that it's like a delivery simulator. That's what everyone has been saying.
Yeah, because it is a delivery simulator, Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, maybe this one will be better. I don't know. Maybe they'll have more action. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
After that, Star Wars Jedi Survivor was announced. The sequel to Star Wars. I almost said Jedi Outcast. What is that game?
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. Yeah. Jedi Outcast is a different franchise from the early 2000s that I still encourage everyone to play, starring Kyle Katarn. It is a fantastic game, although it is very outdated. So maybe, just don't get your hopes up. But it was still fun for its time. Anyways, the actor, what's his name? The dude who came out, Connor? No, the guy that plays Cal Kestis.
Oh, I don't know.
That guy. He was on like he was on a TV show. I forget. Oh my god. His name and the show are blanking, but you guys know. And he came out and he was talking about the game a little bit, and it was cool.
Cameron Monaghan.
There we go. Cameron Monaghan.
Monaghan. Yeah.
Cameron Monaghan. Cool guy. I hope to see him in a live action show for Disney Plus in the near future, just as like a supporting character or something. But
oh, that would be pretty sick.
Yeah. I started playing Jedi Fallen Order.
Nice. What do you think?
It's freaking cool. It's like Dark Souls, but like, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to finish that before this one comes out. So yeah, I mean, I'm hyped. I like Star Wars. Jedi Survivor looks cool. After that, Diablo 4 had a little bit of a showing. I'm not familiar with that franchise. So
hasn't the fandom been waiting for that for a while?
Yeah.
Like, I realized there's been some drama about Diablo and how they've been wanting one and it hasn't happened, and I guess it's now happening.
Is that the game where they're like, you guys have phones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Blizzard's making it. Blizzard / Microsoft, because now Microsoft owns Blizzard.
That's true. That's true.
Not familiar with Diablo and the series, so it looks cool. I mean, the trailer looked cool.
Yes.
Street Fighter 6 was after that. It's Street Fighter.
Yep.
After that was Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which was made by Rocksteady Games, set in their Arkham Knight universe.
Mm-hmm.
Looks awesome. There was like a Batman tease, and I was like, well, of course, it's Rocksteady. They're going to put Batman in this game about the Suicide Squad. So apparently the story is like Brainiac, he's like a DC villain, goes and he like starts controlling all of the Justice League members except for Wonder Woman. And then Amanda Waller puts together the Suicide Squad, and they have to go and kill the Justice League and kill Brainiac. Which,
for sure,
sounds like a fun premise. Hopefully the game's good. And then after that, Super Mario Bros. Movie released a clip, and it was just showing Mario going through the pipes. It was cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was neat. I was like, oh, this is cute. Tekken 8 was after that.
Okay, so you probably won't get it, Jeremy, but this Tekken 8 trailer is pretty wild because there is a character named Jun Kazama who everyone thinks is dead, and for all intents and purposes is probably dead. Or we just know that there was an ogre who kidnapped her, or, took her, and basically has been missing from the franchise for the last 6 games. And she's only been in the Tekken Tag Tournament games, which is not canon, of course.
Right.
But Heihachi's out, and Jun Kazama's back. She's in this game, and it is like blowing my mind just because I really like her character a lot.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to playing with her. Also, what I do think is pretty interesting, this is just one of the things that I caught, is there's a character, martial law, and Bruce Lee type of character. He was using nunchucks in this trailer, and as you know, Tekken is very much a non-weapon type of fighter, except for one character, Yoshimitsu, who uses a sword.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprised to see that he was, using some nunchucks, and I was like, oh shit, what's happening here? Like, what are we gonna get out of Tekken 8? So, there, some things were revealed, and I'm looking forward to seeing, how everything goes. The one thing, the one trend I'm not a fan of with the way characters look now in a lot of fighting games is they look too bulky to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I, just to represent that they're muscular, which to be fair, they are muscular. But yeah, it's like they're kind of too thick now. And when I say too thick, I'm using 5 C's here.
Right.
Like, we can tone it down a bit, I think.
Yeah.
At least 3 C's maybe, and we're fine. So
this criticism comes from a place of love, folks. At least as a big fan.
Yes, comes from a place of love. I love the Tekken series. Basically, one of my favorite franchises ever. So
yeah, maybe they'll tone them down a little bit. I feel like maybe in between Tekken 7 and 8, I think maybe the characters went to the gym a little too much.
A little too much. Too many gains. We can dial down on the gains.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it's going to be a fun game, and I'm looking forward to Tekken 8.
Yeah, the trailer looked cool.
Yeah, it definitely looked cool.
So after Tekken, Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores is getting a DLC set in Los Angeles.
Yeah. I'll probably check that out.
Yeah. I'm assuming it takes place maybe after the main story, or maybe it's a side thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. Looks cool.
Yeah.
After that, Earthblade was announced. It was from the creators of Celeste. Actually, Celeste is a game that Alyssa got for me for Christmas a few years ago. I still haven't beaten it, but it's it looks cool. I mean, it has the same kind of like 32-bit art style that Celeste does. So, yeah, we'll see how it fares. I mean, Celeste was really cool, and hopefully this game is going to be just as cool.
Yes.
After that, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon was announced, which is like this isometric game set in the Bayonetta universe about like Bayonetta, like a prequel kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Looked fun. Looked really cute for something in the set.
Yeah, I was about to say, the art style is definitely not what you think Bayonetta is.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's still going to be a fun and interesting game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of like how a lot of people panned Wind Waker when it came out, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and it has now become one of like a lot of people's favorite games.
For sure.
It's I think it is my favorite Zelda game of all time. I love Wind Waker. So yeah, it looks cool. Bayonetta Origins. Maybe there's going to be a sequel to this in the future if this game does well. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hellboy Web of Weird got an announcement trailer, and it looks like it's going to be a third-person action game starring Hellboy. Yeah, I don't know anything else.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens.
Yep. The Last of Us Part 1 is getting a PC release date for March 2023. It was supposed to have come out in September shortly after The Last of Us Part 1 was released, but I think they wanted to take some time to work on it before it was fully released, which makes sense. You know, a lot of PlayStation games are coming to Steam, and I really appreciate that
Yeah.
Sony's taking their time.
Yes.
Returnal is also coming to PC in early 2023, another PS5 exclusive game that will not be PS5 exclusive anymore. It's Returnal's like a what is it? It's a roguelike, and it's really hard apparently. Like I watched my buddy play it for like 5 hours straight, and he had to start from the very beginning over and over and over again, and he finally beat it on stream, and I was like, yeah, nice. It looks tough. It's not my kind of game, but watching people play it, it's definitely a crazy skill. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to release in August 2023. I'm not personally familiar with that franchise. How about you, Elisa?
I'm not, but I do know a lot of people who play it.
Yeah, likewise. Forspoken demo is on the PlayStation Network. It looked interesting. I personally probably won't play the game or the demo, but hey, it's now for free.
Yep.
Transformers Reactivate is coming out. It's an online action game developed by Splash Damage. It looks like it's probably going to be you're going to be like a transformer in first person doing stuff. No idea. Looks cool, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Immortals of Avim. Immortals of Avim is a single player magic first person shooter. That's all we know.
Yep. Cool.
Remnant 2 is coming out from Gearbox Software. Blue Protocol from Bandai Namco is an anime-inspired MMORPG that's being released jointly through Amazon Games. Seems like Amazon's trying to still put a bunch of MMORPGs under their belt. That's kind of cool. After Us, it's this surreal platformer set on a post-human Earth where players become Gaia, the spirit of life. Throughout the game, players will need to salvage the souls of extinct animals and revive them after learning their fate. Fascinating. Looks fun. Replaced is a retrofuturistic platformer, and it's set in like a dark alternative 1980s America. And it looks like a 2D 3D platformer. Kind of fun. There's another game called Nightingale that got a spotlight. It's like this game where you go through these portals and enter different dimensions. It's like set in the late 1800s, and you, along with some friends, have to build bases and survive against the threats. It seems like it's kind of going to be a PvE/PvP game. Think of like Ark Survival Evolved, or The Forest, or Minecraft, like just base building and survival, which is kind of cool. Vampire Survivors is a mobile game that got a spotlight. Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC is coming next year, which looks really cool. And finally, Valiant Hearts Coming Home is a mobile game that is being released via Netflix, which is fascinating to me that Netflix does that.
I know that they're trying to get into that market. We'll actually see if it's successful.
Yeah.
Now, Jeremy, there's one game that you didn't include, which is actually probably my favorite trailer of the whole Game Awards. But to preface this to the audience, I've only seen 4 trailers of the Game Awards because I'm not caught up on anything. But you forgot Final Fantasy 16.
Oh right, yes. I don't know how I missed that one.
And I'm not gonna lie, that was honestly, I think, one of Square Enix's best Final Fantasy trailers in a very long time because it was very action based and it showed a lot of the gameplay in good ways and just showed enough of the storyline where you're like, all right, we're in some weird, magical medieval realm time and we're trying to find some kid and I'm looking forward to it. The battle system looks great. Your crew looks cool. You have a dog. What more can you really ask for?
Yay, dog.
So, yay, dog. But I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. That comes on June 23rd, I think, of 2023.
Is this like the fastest a Final Fantasy game has been announced and
then coming out?
yeah,
Yes.
I feel like because they announced it like
yes, it has.
a year or two ago, and I was like, whoa, that's probably not going to
It-
come out for the next 5 years. And I'm like, wait, it's coming out in 2023.
It never comes out in a reasonable amount of time after it's released. So maybe we have technology to thank for that? I don't know. We'll see, especially with the way that the DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake came out fairly quickly. Maybe Square Enix is trying to turn a tide in turnover. So
I feel like there's like
turning over games.
right. I feel like there's an executive at Square that was like, hey guys, we look at
Yeah.
this gap between games for Final Fantasy. We can't do this
Yes.
anymore. Can we accelerate this timeline, please?
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
Like Tetsuya Nomura, you can only focus on one game. You can't be working on like a Kingdom Hearts and a Final Fantasy. Pick one. Yeah, so it does look cool.
Yes, it does.
I might play this one. I do like the medieval aesthetic. And
It looks cool.
now that I have a PS5, it just feels right playing a Final Fantasy game on PS5 because
And it'll be way faster too.
that's true. And you know it's gonna work because it's a
Yeah.
console.
Exactly.
Yeah. One thing I do want to add is that at the end of the show, there's some kid who came onto the stage after Elden Ring won Game of the Year, and they said,
Oh yeah, by the way, Elden Ring won Game of the Year, folks.
yeah, I mean,
What a surprise.
right? The contenders were good too, but I feel like because it beat out God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden
Okay,
West.
first of all, I'm surprised that God of War Ragnarok even qualified for anything, because it came out like 2 weeks ago. Or
It's like right, like it just came out. I'm like, how is
it
this?
just came out.
Right? I feel like that was just a shoe-in. Like somebody paid
Yeah.
somebody under the table.
No, they totally paid it off because I was like, this game is new.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
did it even make a cutoff?
like, didn't you have to come out earlier this year to qualify? I have no
Yeah.
idea. So Elden Ring beat God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and A Plague Tale Requiem. I think the only contender would have been God of War Ragnarok personally, but I haven't played it yet. I mean, okay, to be fair, take my opinion again with a grain of salt because I haven't played any of these other games all the way through. So, just visually
Xenoblade's on my list to play. I have Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
right.
I want to play it. It's just like work caught me at such a weird time, but like that's another game that I definitely plan on playing.
Yeah. And I plan on playing Horizon and Stray. Everyone's like giving Stray high praise, but I've never heard anyone say it should be Game of the Year. I don't know. I'm sure there are folks.
The thing is like, okay, Stray is surprisingly one of the games that I've actually have played,
Yeah.
and it is a cute game. I like it. It's a very quick indie game.
Yeah.
And you're a cat. What more can you ask for? I always feel like Game of the Year always includes one indie game.
Yes.
Like it has to. Yeah.
Okay. So it's example of like one of those fill-in things. They're like, oh, well, we got to include one.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That being said, Stray is a good game. It's cute. So
Okay.
I like role-playing games.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So when Elden Ring won, this kid came on and he grabbed the mic and was like, I want to nominate my Orthodox rabbi, Bill Clinton. And then someone like quickly grabbed the mic away from him. So he wasn't supposed to be there.
Wait,
but-
what?
I know, right? And so everyone was kind of confused and they were clapping. You can find the clip on Twitter and probably
Okay, I'm
watch
gonna
the
watch this
VOD.
later.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's so weird.
Okay.
And then like my friend messaged me after, like shortly before we started recording this podcast, Alyssa, and he's like, did you finish watching the Game Awards? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what was that about at the end? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. And he's like, is Bill Clinton gonna be a boss at the end of Elden Ring? And I was like, dude, no, and it was weird. He just like, man, they need better security at these award shows. That's
Dude,
all I
in
gotta
before
say.
Bill Clinton is actually some sort of new character on Elden Ring.
Right? I have no idea.
What a wild time.
Right? But yeah, so that's all the gaming news we have, and that's probably that makes up for a chunk of our time missing from doing this podcast because like
Yeah.
the last time we recorded this was actually in August, Elisa, and now I feel
I
like we
know.
caught up.
Yeah, we've caught up for 4 months worth of gaming just by miraculously recording this on the Game Awards. So you're welcome, everyone. But our listener question is probably the thing that we probably should have talking about a while ago that we totally didn't because I was too busy, but it was probably the most important thing to talk about. So
Would you like to read us the question, please, Elisa?
Yes. 1 second, because I where's my doc?
It's okay. This question, by the way, folks, comes to us from Dave97 on our Discord channel. So thank you, Dave, for submitting a question and for
as always, super clutch.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so Dave97, and for context, this is when Ryu Ga Gotoku Studios made that whole announcement that announced Yakuza 8 and Ishin, and I'm missing one more.
The man with no name.
The
man that has erased his name or something like that.
Something like, yeah. And now, what happened was during this announcement, they announced that officially moving forward, they're not going to be calling the base game Yakuza anymore. They're going to be calling it Like a Dragon, which technically is, I think, the actual literal Japanese translation, correct?
Yes, the original is Ryu Ga Gotoku. Ryu is dragon, and Gotoku is the way. So you're essentially saying like a dragon.
Exactly. So the question goes, following the RGG news blowout, how do you feel about the Kiryu saga continuing? So that's question number 1. And then question number 2 is, also, Sega is now officially ditching the international Yakuza name and will globally call the series by its Japanese name Like a Dragon. How do you feel about this name change?
I want to, before you say anything, I do want to say that there are going to be spoilers. So if you have not played any of the Yakuza games up to this point, please, mute or turn off your pause.
This episode's almost over.
Yeah,
so
this episode's almost over.
Dip.
Yeah, you could just go. You already know how we're gonna end it. But heavy Yakuza spoilers incoming. I'm just gonna preface that because if you don't know what's going on, please either play all the games or listen to our spoiler casts.
Exactly.
But okay, continue, Elisa, please.
Okay, so let's start off with question number 1. How did you feel in the trailer for Like a Dragon 8 when you saw Kiryu?
Well, for me, I was like, okay, he has silver hair. He looks like a K-pop star or like a wannabe K-pop star. I was like, okay, what happened? Like something happened. And I was like, okay, we got Kiryu. I was like, oh, that's cool. Well, first of all, we saw Ichi, and I was like, oh, Ichi, of course, he's going to be the...
Which we all expected and, we're waiting for.
And then boom, Kiryu comes out. I'm like, oh, first of all, I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Kiryu's going to be in the next Yakuza title. And another part of me was like, I thought we were done with him already. I was like my heart is honestly ready to move on. When we played Like a Dragon, I was like, oh, Kiryu's in here as like a cameo.
It was a cameo.
I was like,
it was, it was a send-off cameo. Does that make sense?
Right. Like literally Yakuza 6, the entire plot of the game is to like say goodbye to Kiryu. And literally the last shot of that game is Kiryu walking away from the camera. What more, how better of a bow can you put on this present than this? It was perfect. I was like, I feel so satisfied that it's new. I love Ichi. He's a great protagonist, and I love how meta he is with everything. I'm like, dude, this is my guy, and like my heart is fully on him and Kiryu.
And I love the crew too. I just
great.
love
and like my heart is like with these new characters. And Yakuza 7, I feel like was a game that was very transitional, very much so in like the plot too. It's like, hey, the Tojo clan's gone. The Omi Alliance, it's gone. And, there's no more big Yakuza. Everyone's just going to have little small gangs that are going to roam the streets. That's how the story's going to be. You're going to see Saejima and you're going to see Majima, but they're kind of just there as like bosses, cameos / hey, we're going to move the plot forward a little bit. But honestly, they didn't have to include those characters to make the game continue. It was really nice seeing them. Don't get me wrong. I loved seeing them. But I really thought that, seeing Kiryu...
I like seeing them as cameos.
Exactly. I thought seeing Kiryu, seeing Saejima, and seeing Majima, I was like, okay, this is transitioning to the next phase of the Like a Dragon franchise. Because literally the game's not called Yakuza anymore. It's called Like a Dragon for 7 at least. And you're like, okay, we're moving on. So seeing Kiryu again in that trailer, I was like, man, this is really cool. But how
And
is this gonna go?
yeah. And also the fact that it's pretty much confirmed that we're going to have dual protagonists makes me feel conflicted because I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought we were wrapping a bow on this and sending off Kiryu, and I was completely turned and on board to just playing with Ichiban for the rest of this Like a Dragon storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. Like, it's really cool that during the summit, Ryu Ga Gotoku, like, they announced this, and it's super exciting. But I want to play with just like Ichi, and Adachi and Saiko and Nanba. Like, I want to play with the new crew that I have.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. By the way, the game's gonna be completely fine. Like, 8 is gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. And I have no problem playing with Kiryu. I just kind of wish that we didn't go the Skywalker route where you have to include someone from the Skywalker now in the storyline. You can't, like, instead of just in episode 7 or whatever, you had some Skywalker and some Han Solo stuff, but like, you didn't have to include, like, everyone in 8 and 9 and, moving forward, so.
Right. And I, building off of that, I literally feel like Sega is so afraid that the franchise cannot live without Kiryu, but sales for Like a Dragon show that it's fine. It's totally fine. Like, he was not a playable character. You spent 99% of your you spent 100% of your time behind the camera as Ichi, and it was fine. I had fun. Yeah. It was a great JRPG. But like,
and also, not to mention, Lost Judgment also shows that that RGG can survive without Kiryu too.
Right. Exactly. And it's and that's a brawler, which the old games are. That's what the old games were, and so I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. It like we really don't need to know what happens to Kiryu next. It's nice that we get to, and like they're even adding it further with the man who erased his name. And while that is really cool, it's like, what happened to Kiryu after Yakuza 6 and before Yakuza 7? I'm like, do we really need to know? Like, do we really need to? I don't think so. But I mean, I'm still gonna play it, obviously. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
What I think would have been more fun is some random Kiryu DLC of just, what's he doing as a retired man? Is he bored? Is he trying to find drama in his life?
Right.
Like something kind of more, this is only a 5-hour storyline type of DLC situation, I think I would have been happy with.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. The only thing I know about the man who erased his name is that it's going to continue the story after 6. And
yes, exactly.
And they're returning the Cabaret Club minigame to that small game specifically. So I love the Cabaret Club minigame from Yakuza 0, so hopefully it's going to be the same type, and
yep.
I'll be just playing that most of the time. But we'll see. I know all these games are going to be great. I know Ishin's going to be fun. I know Yakuza 8 is going to be great, and I know that the man who erased his name is going to be great too.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, and I really do hope that it's going to subvert our expectations. Like, cut to next year when these games come out, and Alyssa and I are going to do spoiler casts. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about, hopefully we're going to talk about all the things we liked about the game. And hopefully Sega is not just using Kiryu as a clutch, but using him as a platform to help push the story of Ichi further, and not to distract us, because I feel like it's a distraction. Like, that trailer was definitely a distraction. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. So it's not going to be that big of a deal. So yeah. Oh, can you hold on real quick?
Yep, still recording.
Hold on. Yeah.
Got it.
Never mind. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Yep. But yes, agree.
Yeah. So the second part of the question was, how do you feel about the name change from Yakuza to Like a Dragon?
No, this is the thing. Jeremy, It's only after Yakuza 7, like, it's only starting now that we're officially going to change it to Like a Dragon, correct?
Right.
I think that's fine. It'll be, okay, my opinion is, I think it's fine if we're starting now. Like obviously, it's going to be weird and people are going to be confused, but at the end of the day, the Ichiban storyline is a completely new storyline, and it's called Yakuza Like a Dragon anyway, so it's not like it's completely out of base.
Right.
It would have been weird if they decided every single Yakuza game is now officially going to change its name to Like a Dragon. Then I'd be like, I don't know, that's weird, because the thing is internationally, it's known as Yakuza 0, or internationally it's known as Yakuza 5. That would have been a little bit of a weirder big brain move, but I think doing it starting now, I think is fine, because the Ichi story already has Like a Dragon in it, and then you're just kind of, normalizing it in terms of having the same literal name and translation across the board, and I think it's okay specifically for the Ichi games. So
yeah, totally agree with you on all those points. And like, to just break it down to a simple format, Yakuza the series is about Kiryu, Like a Dragon is about Ichi. That's literally
exactly
it. And then that's why Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon is called that, because it's a transition game. At least that's what I think about, like, mentally. Yeah. I'm just like, dude, that, like, Kiryu's in this game, but he's not a playable character, so we're passing the torch to Ichi.
I agree 100%.
And now 8 has Kiryu as a playable character. I'm like, are we really passing the torch? Like, is the torch being passed?
No, Jeremy.
Or are they both holding the torch?
Yeah,
I feel like they're both holding the torch at this point.
Who knows?
And then Ichi's looking at Kiryu, and Ichi's like, just let go, bro. Just let go. And Kiryu's like, no. He's like shaking his head. He's like, no. But yeah, so those are our thoughts.
Yes.
Dave, thank you so much for submitting that question.
Exactly. Thank you as always, Dave. If you want to submit a question, because we still record this podcast, I swear.
We do.
You can hit us up at www.downtime.live, ask us a question there, contact@downtime.live if you want to send an email. Our socials are Downtime.Live, so on Twitter you can ask us a question, YouTube you can ask us a question, as well as in the show notes you will find the Discord link, and you can also ask us a question there. And anywhere where we have the podcast, like Podbean or Stitcher, you can ask us a question there. And then last but not least, if you listen to Apple Podcasts, drop us a review.
Yes. Thank you so much.
This is great, Jeremy.
It's been a long time coming. I do want to add on.
I missed you.
I missed you too, Lisa. We don't do this often enough, and as you guys know, we're just busy people. Honestly,
yes.
That's literally the only thing.
There's nothing wrong with us.
No.
It's always just work or someone's busy.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Either one of us is traveling, or work, or busy. That's just, those are the only excuses we can think of, because as much as we'd like to sit here and talk about video games all day, we just don't have the time and the energy because we're tired from work.
I know.
But yeah, guys, so hopefully, and we said this last year too, like, we're rebranding, and that's still in the process.
Yes.
Things are set. We're just waiting on a few last minute things, and we can finally transition to the new name and everything. Hence why, if any keen listeners have noticed, we have not stated the name of this podcast in the beginning, because it's just better to just state the episode, and you guys already know where to find us for now.
Yep.
All this information will be outdated at some point.
Yes.
But yeah, folks, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you please take care of yourselves, stay safe, drink some water, take a break.
Yeah. Oh, drink some water, take a break, and go to sleep.
Yes, please do all those things. All right, everyone.
And we will too.
This has
all right,
been
Jeremy.
Episode 187. Alyssa, have a good one. Everyone, take care.
Have a good night.